Okay, well, let's get started, I think. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining on this lovely Monday morning in Central European time, and whatever time it is of the day, wherever you are. This is a session all about rebuilding the economy post-COVID, and we're joined by some excellent speakers from across Europe as well. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Toby. I work at Euclid Network, which is the European Network for Social Enterprise. And I work on a mixture of policy and projects, one of which is the Reset Project, which focuses all on rebuilding the economy post-COVID-19, focusing on the local level and the local approaches to the social economy. And some of our speakers are drawn from this project, and they will introduce themselves, but I'll quickly name them all. We have Clémence joining us from Occitanie in France, working for local government. Alessandra joining us from Emilia-Romagna in Italy, working for ARTA, the agency, working closely with the Emilia-Romagna regional government. Joined by Adrian, who works for Pulse in Serbia, associated with Group SOS. And Theo joining us from Zagreb in Croatia from ACT Grupa. And I think we'll pass quickly on, as I know we don't have a huge amount of time this morning, to Clémence, if you'd like to give a little bit of an introduction to yourself, and we move on to the others afterwards.
Okay, so I'm Clémence Vidal. I work for the Occitanie region in the south of France. And I'm in charge of international relations. I also used to work in the regional social economy departments. I don't know, Toby, if you want me to explain more now or maybe later.
No, that's a nice introduction, and you can give more insight later. Alessandra,
Okay.
if you.
Yeah, good morning to everyone. I'm Alessandra Medici from Arter. Arter is a joint stock consortium company of the Emilia-Romagna region. Actually, it's a regional public company by the Romagna, but also research system and the university of the territory. As you maybe already know, I would like just to show you the map of the regions. If Toby can. We are located in the northeast of Italy, and it's interesting to say that the Emilia-Romagna is a leading region in Europe and in Italy, and this is important also in light of the response to COVID-19. As we can see, we had an employment rate in 2021 that was almost 60%, and this rate is lower than the national average. The economic performance, it's just not our only our characteristics, but what really describe our approach to social economy is that we have we try to combine this dynamism in terms of economic performance with social protection to social inclusion. In this sense, I'd like to say two words about the effect of COVID-19 on our regions. One was, of course, on the health system and the assistance services on the territories, and the other on the labor market, in particular for women. And the Emilia-Romagna region, this is not strictly connected to social economy, but the Emilia-Romagna region, for example, try to help the third sector organization that help the public administration during the pandemic, assisting the vulnerable people and in general the family, opened a call, a 3 billion euros call, just in order to let them cover their expenses. And this is because we recognize the value of social economy on our territory. And the other negative impact was on the market, in particularly for women and families. And also in this case, the Emilia-Romagna region intervene with some measure aimed at supporting work-life balance, contrast to violence, and so on. So this is like some insights on our approach, and maybe later I will just describe you what we are going to do in relation with social economy in a more macro perspective. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. I think next up it is Theo.
Hi, morning everybody. I'm Theo. I'm director of ACT Group, which is basically the support organization based in the north part of the Croatia. Currently, I'm talking from Zagreb, where we have the second office. So we are the support organization not only to impact entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, but we are also supporting impact non-profits, innovative civil society organizations that basically are more and more specializing in providing the social services in the local communities, but we are also supporting impact investors through different programs. We started as a venture building organization, and today we are trying to build and enhance basically, and we are empowering the ecosystem of social entrepreneurship in Croatia. In this project, in Reset project, I'm representing the city of Zagreb. It is one of the biggest region in Croatia, based in the central part of the Croatia. One of the most economic advanced in basically one of the cities in Croatia that did the most when we are talking about the development of social entrepreneurship in general. I think we will have a lot of possibilities to talk today about the COVID and impacts of the COVID, not only to the social economy system, but on the economic and development in general. But since Croatia GDP is mostly based on tourism, I suppose that as well as in Spain and in Italy and France, we were hugely impacted by the COVID situation. But 2021 was, I would say, a relaxing one in terms of economic incomes, and I suppose that the next year will be more stable and will bring us, a lot of more opportunities than it was in 2020 and this year. But on the general level, definitely COVID impacted the economic ecosystem. I would say that we didn't expect, but we also didn't see any huge impact on the social economy sector. Because in Croatia it is still rather small and it's still in the early stage of the development. So there were no huge number in terms of harms that COVID basically did to the social economy ecosystem.
Okay, thanks very much, Theo. And passing on to Adrian now.
Yes, good morning, everyone. So I'm Adrian Delaby. And I'm working for Pulse, and I'm based in Belgrade, Serbia. Pulse is a French-based NGO that aims to support the development of ecosystem for social entrepreneurship development at international level, and as well to support social entrepreneurs themselves, people that have an idea and wants to develop a social business through the setup of different programs from ideation to incubation to acceleration, and as well as the setup of physical spaces, local incubators in different countries. So we operate in France, but as well in Africa, in Morocco, Tunisia, South Africa, and Senegal. And I am operating and coordinating a project in the Western Balkans 6, which is directly linked to this topic. We are coordinating a project called RISE, so Regional Incubator for Social Entrepreneurs. And this project aims at creating an ecosystem in the Western Balkans 6. So I speak about Serbia, North Macedonia, Montenegro, Kosovo, Albania, and North Macedonia. and to have an ecosystem that works in the setup of programs to support young people in the development of their ideas toward a social business, and to support also their mobility in the region in order for them to interact at regional level and cross borders.
It's very interesting, and I'd like to invite everybody who's watching to please put your questions in the chat all the way through, and we'll take them at different points as much as possible. And I want to come back to Clémence and give her an opportunity to say a little bit more about Occitanie and a bit more of a presentation.
Thank you, Toby. So as I was saying, I work for the Occitanie region. For those who do not know, and there are probably many, Occitanie is located in the south of France. It's the second largest in France, so it's larger. It's larger than Ireland and twice the size of Belgium. So it's big pride of Occitanie. So we are a very big region in France, and in Occitanie, social enterprise represent more than 12% of regional employment. So the unemployment rate, however, remains a challenge for us because it represents 9.4% of job seekers in 2021, compared to 8% in France. The employment is a big challenge for us. And the Occitanie region, you have to know that we have included the social economy model in our regional economic development plan. So the place of social economy is really affirmed because we consider that social economy tackles three major challenges: creation and the creation of non-relocatable jobs, and also the role of revitalizing the rural areas. And you also have to know that 40% of our population lives in rural areas. So that's a very important point for us. We also have a social economy regional plan, which clearly addresses the issues of support for business creation, social enterprise financing, etc. We have organized a complete chain of support for social enterprises, etc. I told you that the social economy accounts for a large share of employment in our region, and so the social economy has been strongly impacted by the COVID crisis. So the set of measures taken by the region and also the French states and our financial partners in response to the COVID crisis was of unprecedented scale. There were numerous financial aids, loans, rent exemptions, training actions, etc. However, most social economy enterprises and associations also were excluded from many of these measures because they were too young, or they had too little equity capital, or they were not sufficiently structured to be monitored by banks, etc. So we had to set up specific fundings. We organized webinars to inform them of the aid they could mobilize. We led training actions dedicated to social enterprises, etc. So I'll stop here for the moment.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody who has any questions at this point, but if you do, please pop up now or put it in the chat. Otherwise, we can carry on a little bit further. Just if you had any questions at this onset, it's probably best to resolve them before we go into any more technical specifics. But apart from that, then maybe Clémence, if you could give a little bit of the overview of the Reset project as the project leader, that would be excellent, as a project across Europe all about this topic.
Okay. So as I was saying, I work for the region Occitanie, and the region Occitanie is the leader of the Reset project. In fact, the European Commission launched the call for project social economy missions in 2020. And the aim of the European Commission was to support networking and exchanges of experience between local authorities in the field of social economy. At the same time, in 2020, we were in the middle of the COVID crisis, and it was already having a profound impact. a wide range of themes were proposed for this call, but it seemed obvious to us that our project should focus on the issue of employment, because it was critical to protect jobs and workers at this time even more. And we were convinced that social economy offered an economic model that contributes to saving quality jobs in the territories, even more in times of crisis. Because first, social economy enterprises are based on innovative modes of governance, the superiority of collective interest over individual interest, job protection rather than the race for profit, the respect for environment, and also deep roots in the territories. So we consider they promote the creation of sustainable, not relocatable, and socially useful jobs. So that's why we, as local governments, we are increasingly seeking partnerships with social economy enterprises to take on the challenge of inclusive and sustainable labor market, especially post-COVID-19 crisis. So we decided to develop the RESET project. RESET means relaunching employment with social economy in the territories with our partners. And our partners are the Emilia-Romagna region, the community of Valencia, the city of Zagreb, the group SOS Pulse, Art Group, and the Euclid Network. So the idea of the project was to organize 3 workshops involving social economy networks and enterprises in each region between April and November 2021 in Montpellier, Valencia, and Bologna. So the agenda of the workshop, the idea was that the agenda of the workshop will be collective reflection, testimonies, visits, etc. So we had 2 main objectives for the action. The first was to set up a network of European, regional, and local authorities to exchange best practices on how to use the social economy model to save jobs in our territory in times of crisis, and especially in times of COVID-19 crisis. So it means how to create jobs, how to preserve jobs, and how to transform jobs, also taking care of the vulnerable groups. And our second main objective was to make some recommendations resulting from these exchanges in the project, and to make some recommendations that will stimulate the reflection for the European Social Economy Action Plan of the European Commission. So I'll stop here if you have any question.
Thank you, Clémence. It's a nice overview of the project. Now, I don't see any questions popping up yet, but then maybe I pass over to Theo, and he can also give some insight into the methodology and the ideas behind RESET as a non-local government figure, but one of the partners of the project.
Yeah. Well, I must say I was just reflecting on our previous project partnerships in last 10 years, and basically this is the first project where we systematically work with local governments, especially from the point of co-creating the agendas and the topics that would be really deeply discussed in each of the workshops and during the project meetings as well. And it's quite different experience than basically having the study visit, usually through Erasmus or some other programs, because it somehow sets the most important topics and themes that priorities basically that we are facing in the current situations in different regions, in different countries, but somehow we see them as the really important ones. So regarding the research project, I would say that the biggest value I see is definitely in the collaboration, in co-creation. That is somehow organic and natural. It is not like being forced by different agendas from the EU level or national levels to the local ones, but somehow organically is basically asking what are the biggest topics that you are working on currently in different regions, and then we are somehow bringing them together. So the project basically started with I would say important exercise trying to map what is the level of the development of different elements of the ecosystem, so social economy in different regions that are being part of the project, using better entrepreneurship policy tool. I mean, even we somehow are quite experienced in the ecosystem development processes, and we understand the policy projects and agendas that are happening in our countries. I would say that the exercise was really a huge value to the projects, especially because we had the opportunity to understand more deeply how each of the element of the ecosystem is working or it's developed in every region. So I would say that the results of the exercise and the presentation we made on the first workshop, which has been online due to the COVID situation and non-possibility to travel to other countries, somehow set the baseline of the project in terms that we really understand who are the project partners, from which regions they are coming, and what basically are the situations in the region, in order to just follow with the conversation on the most important topics, and as I said, priorities that are happening in the region. So somehow I have the reflection, being part of almost 100 projects definitely in my past, that these projects gives the opportunity to be heard, to somehow we always have the success bringing people together to share the experiences and knowledge and somehow the lessons learned from their work in their regions and the countries. And I would say we are still in the search for the best practices, since we are dealing with a lot of topics, not just with one. So and the interesting moment is definitely that also on the local level, this is our experience. Somehow the understanding of the partnership, understanding of joint collaboration on the social economy development between the local government, the support organizations, social enterprise support organization, is somehow giving up bigger value to the project, because at the same time we are facing different processes going on. As I said, so on the local level, we are continuing collaborating with the local governments, because we are preparing for the meetings and the workshops, and we are talking and discussing all the topics. But at the same level, we have like good continuity in monthly meetings, where we are discussing not just the technical topics and agenda, but also the content. And we are continuously learning through the project meetings, as well as we have the opportunities to learn, as I said, more deeply during the social economy missions, being study visits and workshops held in different regions. So I think something that we definitely learned or validated is that having in one project support organizations as well as local governments is really important, especially in terms of further development of the ecosystem. So the first workshop was online, and basically it was a little bit shorter than the offline that we had, the second one in Valencia, but I would say it was quite dynamic, and the conclusions and what we have learned was, as I said, a good baseline to start develop the agenda of 2 further workshops that needs to be organized within the project. In the second workshop in Valencia, we have been together for 2 days, and somehow, the topic was again to understand each other, especially from the morning workshops where we somehow again did the exercise of mapping and sharing on legislation, on finance instruments and finance support that is being given to social economy organization, as well as on promotion and visibility of social enterprises. But somehow the more specific topic during the Valencia workshop was transition of traditional enterprises to social enterprises, and basically the worker buyouts. That is quite innovative, I would say, methodology of building the ecosystem and building the sector, social economy sector, and especially interesting for countries like Croatia, where we just started with the development of the social economy organizations and the ecosystem. So Valencia being offline, basically I didn't see, maybe this is the post-COVID reflection, I didn't say, but I didn't see so much a higher value than being online. The only thing is also, of course, seeing the faces of the people, having opportunity to talk not only during the workshop but also during the coffee breaks, lunch, and after the event. But somehow the topics and the topics we are discussing, and somehow the people who are being part of the project, I would say, have the experience and they're confident being also online as well as offline. So it will be quite interesting to hear also from other project partners what kind of the insights they have on these two comparisons. But my reflection and the reflection from my colleague from their group is that it is really important to think in the future what topics should be discussed and learned offline, and what topics should be discussed and learned online. I mean, also being part of this panel at the GSF, where we can have like 30 to 40 different people listening and discussing the topic, is somehow always bringing bigger value, but to the topic, to the topic itself. But of course, there are other benefits of being also present offline. That was the first time, basically, if I ignore the meetings in Brussels, that I had the opportunity to be part of some offline event in last 1.5 years, and somehow I can conclude that those kind of events that have the specific topic always can have even bigger value when we are offline. But of course, everything depends about the participants' language knowledge, technical stuff that has to be taken into account, as well as motivation of the people on the topic. So Valencia workshop was again level up in terms of the understanding what is going on in the Europe, and how different processes are taking places in different countries. Because if we compare, in Croatia, where the ecosystem is really fragile and the social economies are small and quite smaller than in France, Spain, or in Italy, we are dealing with totally different topics, how basically to build a stronger social enterprises and build the sector and build the ecosystem to be more enabling for the further development, while we have the situations, in history of many years in the 3 project countries where they have really more specific topics that they need to work on. And this is the good lesson learned also for us as a country that basically is observing and learning, because somehow we can foresee what would be the development path of the ecosystem, and what kind of the issues and challenges we will have, and what topics we will need to discuss once the ecosystem will be developed on the level as it is in Spain, Italy, and France. So it was quite challenging for us to understand, but on the other side, it was quite empowering to see how many basically different levels of growth we still need to, as I said, foreseen and implement to and to have in the future. So I was supposed to talk about the methodology, and so sorry, I'll finish now. Basically, it was from the city of Zagreb, but I also know from some other partners from the project consortium. Already now the project is given a huge value, especially on the specific terms and topics, but as I said, I think, and I suppose it would be really great to hear from other project partners if they also experience some kind of different energy going on, and a little bit more developed collaboration and communication with the local governments than they had previous to this project. So yeah, I will stop here. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. It's really interesting. Also, of course, the impact of COVID, not just on the social economy, but on the projects which are trying to develop the social economy and support it. It's very meta, and also very interesting also to hear from a perspective where the social economy is much younger, more fragile compared to countries with a longer tradition or of cooperatives and things like that. And there's a nice question in the chat, which I might direct towards you, Clémence, if that's okay, about whether you think having these projects with local governments and social enterprise support organizations together is helping to build stronger, better understandings and taking away barriers for cooperation.
Yes, of course, it is useful. I think we are, as local authorities, we need to work with civil society organizations to make our actions more meaningful, I would say, and also our ambitions more concrete. And this is very valuable for us. And in the region Occitania, each time we have to develop, for example, for the social economy action plan of the region, we do everything with our stakeholders and also associating enterprises and civil society organizations. That was very important for us. That was the basis of our work, of our daily work. It's the basis of our daily work, I hope.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, and then perhaps we move to talk to Adrian now, who's somebody who's not involved in the RESET project, but is involved in another project in a different context, and I think has some more insights to offer for Matt.
Yes, thank you. Indeed, I was not part of those workshops, but hearing about it and about Theo explaining it, I think we had another perspective from the Western Balkan 6 through different works we did on those workshops. But basically, I think about two of them. A year ago, we worked actually with Theo, and Theo realized a study on the social economy and the social entrepreneurship in the Western Balkan 6 with the RISE project that we published, and which gave a lot of insight on all those topics and the on the ecosystem state of play in the Western Balkans. And as well, we recently got lucky enough to organize a regional forum for social innovation in Belgrade with all this ecosystem gathered as well in order to bring all of those topics up during panels and workshops, etc. So I'm mostly going to speak about through those experiences of what the insight I got. And I see you speak about the local governments interactions and the municipalities, etc. This is one of the big points that comes out of the difficulties that the Western Balkans have developing the ecosystem, which is unfortunately yet an underdeveloped underdeveloped sector. And the biggest difficulty is that there is a very low interaction between the local governments and the ecosystem, which is very much existing, of civil society trying to develop and push toward a bigger impact for social enterprises. And there is two main reasons that we recognize as this is. The first one is that all those governments from local countries don't yet agree on a definition of social entrepreneurship, and they don't have, therefore, understand it enough in order to bring some interaction and as well a legislation on social enterprises in all of those countries. So from this, it means that this ecosystem and the social enterprises are not recognized by governments, by local municipalities as well at each level, and it limits very much the interaction and the work you can have with those institutions in the development of projects and as well in the development of social enterprises themselves, because they are basically understood as a normal business and have legal statutes and legal forms that are basically considered the same as a normal business. And so we spoke about COVID and the impact it had on those. As Theo said, and we can maybe I feel more related with the Western Balkans to the ecosystem of Croatia as well in Zagreb, in terms of the size and the development stage of this ecosystem in the Western Balkans, and therefore it was not as affected as it could have been in France, because it's very locally engaged. Its social enterprises are locally acting and less dependent toward international interactions. And so it was quite resilient toward the COVID in this way. But on the other side, as it's not recognized and not specifically identified as a sector, it didn't get specific helps or reaction from local governments and municipalities in order to support it. So it basically had the same different way of support than local normal businesses, which when we work with minorities, when we work with people on the way to employment, brings more difficulties to a social enterprise than a standard normal enterprise, I would say. And so indeed there was no specific measures for those enterprises as far as I know, and I speak on the general level. I don't know enough of each evolution on each countries. But the conclusion is that as they are locally involved, they were more resilient toward the COVID crisis as well, in general.
No, but yeah, I'm curious. Was there? I'm not an expert on the Western Balkans or Serbia, but was there any sort of differentiated support between the national and the local level, or it was just not really support at all?
So at the general level, it's more national level, I would say. I cannot speak specifically because I couldn't follow. I'm mostly on coordination of operation as well, so it's a bit very geopolitic oriented so far. And maybe actually Theo, which is very involved as well in the region, can complete. But it was mostly national oriented toward normal businesses to support them in different ways, but not as much directly to social enterprises. So I don't have that much insight on this aspect.
Oh, no.
But what is sure actually from your question is that compared to EU, which have much more as well EU level reactions than the Western Balkans, which are not organized as such with regional reactions in a way. It was more indeed national and locally than at the regional level indeed. And that's a big difference between this the EU situation where you have a bigger leverage from this connection between countries.
Oh, yeah, that's very interesting. And I think Alessandro, you could tell us a bit more about what's happening at the local level in Italy, and this would be a nice comparison between inside and outside of the EU.
Yeah, thank you. if you can upload my slides, is number 5, just because I want to connect to what Theo was saying, that each of us has a different ecosystem regarding social economy. In Emilia-Romagna, we had we have a strong traditional cooperative movement, and this of course helped transforming our territory into a very rich and lively ecosystem for social economy. And also this pact between the regional government and all the key stakeholders also of the social economy, of course, is a peculiarity of the Emilia-Romagna region. But despite these characteristics, we had some, of course, points to be straightened. We carried out a lot of European projects and mapping analysis, and the manager of the social enterprises and the social economy organization, which are for the majority small and medium enterprises, said that they, for example, need to strengthen their managerial skills in order to compete also in the private market. So they are not mature in this sense. Moreover, we need to structure a social impact measurement tool in order to give to the social economy to show the real impact on our territory of the social economy organization. For example, during the pandemic, as I said before, they helped a lot the local administration. So maybe this instrument could be useful just to help them. Moreover, we discovered during COVID-19 that also digitalization of processes and services could be useful. And the majority of the association, voluntary association and social enterprises have still to be to work on this aspect. That's why in the next slide, I just would like to do an overview of the pro-intervention that we are going to implement on our territory. First of all, we will support social economy organization through the new regional operational plan, the RDF and GSEF that the Emilia-Romagna region is drafting, as I guess all the European regions, and Arter, which is a technical assistance agency, is supporting the government, just suggesting some measures that can be included here. Some of our suggestions, some hints, for example, a reward system in the public calls, just to reward the social economy organization for the social value that they create on the territory, and that cannot be measured as, for example, the economic performances. Moreover, we have the National Plan for Resilience Recovery, which in Mission 5, Cohesion and Inclusion, will put a lot of resources at disposal of the local administration and regional administration and also social economy organization in order to also overcome the structural needs that they had. This is an interesting experience of multi-level governance, because it comes from the Next Generation EU program at the European level, and it arrives since it arrives close to the citizens, to the municipality. Another instrument is the implementation of our national third sector reform that has been implemented starting from 2017, and in this regard, as Emilia-Romagna region and Arter, we are involving the local administration, the local authorities, and the third sector entities in a public procurement path in order to find out new relations, new kind of relations among these different actors. And last but not least, the participation in some European platforms and programs. We are one of the partners of the ESPRI platforms on social economy, managed by the Navarra region. Each partner has a different level of, we have some partners that are young in their experience with social economy, and other like Navarra that they are very structured. And also we participate in lots of European projects, such as, of course, RESET and RAISE, SILK, which is a OECD project, and also AMIF project that are very important also at economic point of view, and help us with including vulnerable people, in particular after COVID. Talking about opportunities and challenges for local administration, we consider this period after the pandemic an opportunity, of course, because we will have additional resources that the local administration and the social economy organization can use to, to implement projects that was there and that they need the resources just to be carried out. But of course, it's also a challenge, because we know that our, for example, national plan for resilience and recovery is strictly connected to the national reforms that the parliament should approve. So it's not a process completely under our control. And of course, it's also a challenge, because we have to be ready with project and program, and we have to allocate the resources in a very good way in order to be very effective with the measures. What I can say is that after this difficult period, we had the chance to find out a new way to work together, the public administration, the political point of view and technical point of view, and also with the social economy organization that, of course, will include it in this process. Before we were talking about the European projects that help to put together local administrations and also the social economy organization. And I just like to mention one successful story from Arter, because before the COVID-19, actually in February 2020, the Emilia-Romagna region opened a training call in order to overcome the problem of the lack of managerial skills in the social economy organization. It was a 1.5 billion call that was influenced by Arter, but in particular by our project, the Interreg Euro project, RAISE. And in the assessment phase, that was, of course, after the February 2020, the evaluators from the Emilia-Romagna pay specific attention to all the training project that was devoted to smart working and work-life balance, because, of course, social economy organization and all the applicants start to testify their needs to invest also in this new in the digitalization of the processes and services. So this was a really important to us, a really important intervention where a European project had a crucial role. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, really. Yeah, thank you very much. Very good and clear also what's going on, and also quite a contrast from what we had in terms of the response from the Western Balkans. Just simply that it's a very different context. Actually, it's very clear. And thinking about this European dimension as well, and institutional as well, with these different projects funded by these different organizations. I wonder if one of you would like to comment maybe also about the other initiatives which are being undertaken, which are related to these projects. So Clémence mentioned the European Action Plan for the Social Economy, and also the different challenges have been mentioned as well, lack of understanding, lack of managerial skills. What do you hope comes out of these projects and these initiatives, which you would like to be seen at the European level and addressed in particular? What issues are there? I'm looking to one of you, Clémence, Theo, Adrian, Alessandra, anyone?
I can start if you want.
Perfect.
So I'm not going to talk about what is already being done, because we can see, I think, that the European Commission, for example, is giving an increasing place to the social economy. And with the subject is taking on a global dimension, even more so with the crisis. So that's a good thing. And as we can see today with the organization of this big event, we as Regional Occitanie have high expectations, especially regarding the European Action Plan for Social Economy. Because we have high expectations regarding the recognition and the support for the role of the territories and the local authorities in the development of the social economy. So we think that the social economy is by nature strongly rooted in the territories, and so local authorities play a major role in the territory. They play a major role in the development of the social economy, because we can develop specific and dedicated policies. So we think this plan and all the action of the European Commission should enhance the role of the local authority and recognize this role. We also think that social economy is not present enough in all the European policies, in all the European programs, in all the European fundings. So we would like to see the European Commission continuing their efforts to improve the accessibility of all types of enterprises, especially small ones, especially social enterprises. We want them to improve the access of these types of enterprise to European funds. And another thing that was enhanced during the workshop, the second workshop of the WISET project, was the creation of a fund dedicated to supporting the transformation of traditional enterprises into social enterprises. And that was a big point of our second workshop and a big expectation, I think.
Yeah, so that's a really good point. But of course, it's not just about building new things. It's also about changing what's already there, and also thinking about what's already there. There's the social economy, of course, is one big thing, but it's also related to other things. And I think we saw that especially during the second workshop, that cooperatives and businesses focusing on sustainability in terms of the environment as well. This is also something included. And I wonder if anybody would like to comment, what can be done to sort of try and integrate these different agendas, which are actually often trying to work towards similar goals in terms of sustainability and inclusion, so that the social economy is not always treated as something other. Maybe a big question.
I just would like to comment. First of all, I think that the RESET project has the peculiarity to be focused on employment of vulnerable people, and this gives, I would say, concreteness to the project. Sometimes when we talk about social economy and social innovation, they seem fields of activity very far from the needs of the people. They seem very, I don't know, like theoric. And the RESET project, since now we try to address a very crucial problem of our territory, that are employment and also the assistance to vulnerable groups. And for example, answering to your question, Toby, in Valencia, we, all of us, I think we had lots of our stakeholders participate to this event, and also from important organizations. Emilia-Romagna, the 3 cooperatives association, the representative participated, and 4 work buyout experiences attended the meeting. Of course, this is important because apart from Arter, we have other organizations that can like push the regional government and the regional agenda in order to include some of the hints and the suggestions that came out from the meeting. And this is one of the, I mean, interesting results of the second workshop.
Yeah, true. And also thinking about this, we've been talking a lot about reset, unsurprisingly, but looking at Adria now as somebody who's outside of the project, also in the European neighborhood as well, do you think projects like Reset can be recreated or exported to other contexts? Because of course, we talk a lot about the European Union in this workshop, but of course the world is a lot bigger than Europe. So that's a good thing to ask.
From what I heard, indeed, it definitely should be recreated or replicated and adapted to actually local contexts, to actually speak the same language or to bring it to the same level of expectation, depending on the level of development of the ecosystem, which again is quite different. But as well, I see that you in Reset you work with different ecosystem developed. Sorry, speaking about France and then speaking about Croatia, and to identify those different priorities as well. And that's something we indirectly want to try to do as much as we can with the RISE project, where we have local incubators in 6 countries and try to have them interact as much as we can at regional level by peer learning on a continuous level through exchange of okay, what is here we speak mostly about support of social entrepreneurs, what is working, what is less working, and what are the opportunities at regional level for them to not only interact on this project, but as well to bring it to new interaction at regional level for new projects towards. And as well, there is also interactions and should be even more encouraged. I was speaking about the fact that most of the countries don't recognize, the government, public institution don't recognize the definition or the innovation of social solidarity economy. But in each of those countries, there is working groups that are still pushing and are working with the government in order to bring it forward and to try to unlock some stage of recognition. And this level of interaction and lesson learned from each country will be really helpful for them for all of them to reach this goal. And as well, speaking about this, the EU impact and that could be also very influential, is that so all those countries are in the different stage of EU integration, which involve having to validate some chapters on all the topics that come from labor rights to green agenda to law to human rights, etc. And I believe one of the leverage and one of the main issue right now is that in all of those chapters, despite the fact that the solidarity economy is really big in the EU, the chapters don't push forward this importance of this recognition of solidarity economy in the EU accession process. And right now it's quite a booming topic in even more in, I mean, not for all the countries of the EU, and that is still to be pushed toward different countries and actually the leaders, which are France, Spain, Italy, and Germany. But to actually include this in the EU accession to a certain level to support this solidarity ecosystem of civil society that is pushing for it without a lot of means of leverage, but to have the EU as well support by asking all this agenda to be to take this into consideration to a certain level, because not to push too many barriers to the EU accession as well, because there's already a lot in on the agenda, but to unlock some of the stage of recognition, which is the first one is simply the definition of it and the recognition of it as an activity, and just this could be big steps for unlocking the ecosystem evolvement of those countries that are sometimes limited to this stage of this situation, basically.
I think, yeah, that's very interesting as a way of thinking of the social economy as something in external action, and diplomacy and accession is, I think, an idea you could float with the European External Action Service and see what they say. Yeah, just looking at the chat, I see there's a question which was from Giovanni, which was angled towards Clémence, about what kind of impact could a more localized approach and legislation towards social economy and giving competence to the local level have for the internationalization and scaling of social enterprise?
I think in the region extended, we think that social enterprise are really developed in the heart of the territory. So I have to confess that we think that their internationalization is not our first priority. Our priority is their scaling, their development. And for their development, I think the impact could be a better consideration of their needs, because we are closer to them and we know our territory very well. So the impact would be, I think, a more targeted, more adapted and more accessible assistance and support, and also talking about financial aids. In fact, I think this would be the major impact, a kind of a tailor-made assistance and support to our social enterprises.
Very interesting. And also I'm reflecting from what I learned about the Emilia-Romagna region, and I think there's sometimes there was quite a lot of focus on internationalization and external aspects of businesses and the cooperatives working there. So I don't know if the context is different, or if you have a different opinion about what should be done in order to, or different vision for what you want to happen with the social economy there.
I think it's quite a different vision, because of course we don't exclude the international dimension, but our priority is to settle and to develop a network of strong social enterprises in the territories. And the philosophy of social enterprise for us is really an enterprise that is deeply rooted in the territory. So I think it's kind of a different vision, maybe.
Yes, I'd like to say that, for example, we always confront ourselves with Catalonia regions, because they have a specific service dedicated to internationalization for social enterprises and cooperative. In Emilia-Romagna, we do not have this kind of services. We just have services for enterprises that want to go abroad in the Silicon Valley, or to participate to international events, and cooperative can participate, but the programs are not specifically dedicated to them. And of course, most of them, in particular the social cooperative, still don't have the managerial capacity to participate and to participate to this public call. Other kind of cooperative, the ones that you meet in Valencia, of course, are different. They are industrial cooperatives and they can participate. But this is for us a big difference, because we would like to have maybe a specific service, but for the moment we just have a service for all the enterprises, the companies, the private and the private companies and the social enterprises.
Sorry, one question to all of us. I'm a little bit confused in terms of mainstreaming the social economy, solidarity economy as a topic. What benefits bring to the sector and to us? Basically, the specialization and development of the specific mechanisms that support social and solidarity economy. If we want to see social economy mainstreamed and accepted as a part of the economy?
It's a good question, but okay, I don't know. Maybe if one of the other people would like to chime in, but I can also sort of say from my perspective as somebody seeing at the European level, that of course the social economy is different, and it isn't the same as the traditional economy. It does need specific things to support it, but the benefit, of course, is that working towards the SDGs and the big goals, the more social you can make traditional business practices, I guess the better for inclusion and for the environment. But I agree, it's quite dangerous if everything becomes too focused on one thing, because then you start to not necessarily appreciate the differences which exist and what you need to do to support the different organizations. Which maybe Theo, you have something you'd like to say?
I'm just thinking, I'm a little bit confused today thinking about this topic, because we want to see the social economy mainstreamed and understood by the societies in general, especially on the policy level. Then we should know that basically one of the preconditions of mainstreaming and acceptance of the new things is the same level of understanding, basically having the right information and the knowledge about the topic on the same level, and specializing and basically keeping the knowledge in some small bunks of in different situations, different countries, different regions, maybe doesn't help to the mainstreaming process at all. Because as we are continuously repeating, for all the enterprises, for all the other economy, we have the support system, we have the legislation, we have the finance, we have the everything in set. But on the other side, we want to see the social economy as an economy part also. So in that terms, it doesn't make sense to spin off some of the mechanisms we need to have. Of course, in terms of strengthening the sector, that makes sense. But at the same time, they need to be, somehow leveraged with all other support systems and the policies and finances, etc., etc. So I just opened the question, because I see why. But on the other hand, we want to see, that social economy is the topic that is accepted and understood more broadly, and somehow we are pushing it more in the specific directions without our other stakeholders that needs to understand and see it as a part of the whole economy and the ecosystems.
A question popping up in the chat after that. Do we not want all businesses to adopt social enterprise business models? That a question for you, Theo.
Maybe if I can just react maybe to Theo's comment, indeed, of bringing the mainstream ideas to everyone through the common understanding for everyone, which to me sounds, hearing like this sounds quite challenging. And I read on the question, does everyone have the same definition of the normal economy as well? And is this maybe too challenging to bring everyone to the same level, but thinking maybe in different sectors, as a solidarity economy is impacting all sectors of economy in general. And so people understand the health sector when they work in the health sector, and will understand the solidarity economy through the health sector activities, and not by having the common knowledge of all the sector, but to try to each of the sectors promote it into other people that will understand it through the definition they have of their economy, of their sector, and of their, let's say, specialty in a way. And then to be able to broaden it, and so to in this way have all the business indeed going toward this solidarity economy, social enterprises business model, having them thinking about it through their model that they already know about, and not. I don't believe everyone has the knowledge of all the economy ecosystem, different sectors enough for the solidarity economy to have the ambition to bring it to this level as well, I guess. And that's something I just got from your question, Theo, to if I can react and from the idea I just got from your reflection.
Yes, I would like to react as well, because, for example, I think that to mainstream the social economy, one of the action could be to involve in participative processes, the association, the voluntary association, to include them in the elaboration of the policy, as we try to do in Emilia-Romagna, in particular with some regulation, such as a pact, the Labor and Climate Pact, with all the key stakeholders of the region, and also to try to involve also the very small association and organization of the social economy that are made by citizens, that are not, I mean, the representative of big cooperatives or people who are already able to talk with the political, the regional government. So maybe to mainstream it, it's to try to root root the social economy organization in the territory, just to try to involve them in every step of the elaboration of the policy or the intervention that we try to do on the territory.
Yeah, I think this is the topic that should be further discussed, definitely, because it brings a lot of questions. And yeah, I saw also in the chat that Verla asked, don't we want all businesses to adopt the business models of social enterprises? But basically, no, we don't want to see, social enterprise principles being implemented in, I don't know, weapon industry, army industry, tobacco industry, drug industry, gambling industry, etc., etc. So yeah, the question is no, but we want to see how basically the collaboration and the joint process of development of different types of businesses should benefit in bigger societal return on the investment. So I would say again that I see it as a joint process. There is no way that the traditional businesses will develop on their own way, and the social economy will develop on their own way. There should be a lot of collaboration, and as I said at the beginning, we need to understand each other. We need to have the information and knowledge to talk about the further developments. And it's quite hard when you see, EU official that understand the policy level, but doesn't understand anything what is going on in the practice. And when basically you have the representative of the social enterprise support organization that doesn't know or that doesn't understand how policy processes are working, because it has the knowledge and the experience in the supporting the social enterprises. So somehow, those processes needs to be more developed, and we somehow should build the capacities in terms to have the good baseline to talk with all other stakeholders if we want to see improvements in the different ecosystems, not just in the social economy.
That's really, very, very interesting, and very, very interesting. There's some more questions coming up in the chat. Just quickly look at them. Okay, yeah. So Giovanni is asking, is it not a good thing to have different understandings of what the social economy is, and the variety of perspectives isn't that something which we should want to preserve? I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that.
Well, for me, it's quite easy. Of course, social economy is not the same for everyone, as never the politics, the traditional economy would be same for everyone. I mean, there are great models that are validated and that are basically also in the traditional business and the capitalistic business are providing a high return on the society, while at the same time we have also the bad examples in the social economy where we don't have the economic or societal return. So yeah, nothing will be, we won't have the sterile autistic view on the development of the social economy or traditional economy of the society in general. I think there will be always a variety of perspectives and opinions, etc., etc. But somehow we, as well as said, basically, the key point is our vision is to have better economy and better societies, which will basically employ the scarce resources we have, especially in terms of further development of the quality of the citizens, of the people. But there will be definitely in the future also different processes going on. New innovative things will pop up. I mean, the system that we know it today totally will be different in the next 5 years. So I just think, yeah, as well, I also agree collaboration is definitely the key. We need to collaborate, communicate, learn, teach each other, and basically try to discuss all the topics which should be developed on the level of real understanding and the shared vision, or at least some points of the shared vision on the global level as well.
I'm curious also because you're talking about the maintaining this variety and understanding it differently. How do you interpret or view the development of common legal status then, or at the national level or even beyond, or for what social enterprise is?
You asked me or somebody else? Sorry,
I was asking you because I know Adrian was talking earlier that there's a lack of understanding, a lack of common legislation about social enterprise, and so I'm not sure if if there's a question there, but is it a good thing to have its legal status for social enterprise?
You mean on the EU level or regional level or national levels or what?
Well, yeah, on any level. Perhaps it's good on a local level, but it doesn't work at a higher level. Or
yeah, I don't see any big failures or yeah, bad things happening today when we have quite different situation in Europe. I mean, a lot of countries have just statuses. Some of them don't recognize the social enterprises, but they're still doing great job. And some countries like Italy, Spain have a long history of social economy development, and like UK also specific legal status. But I don't see that any of these countries has basically, a huge obstacles when they have or don't have the legal status. I think, again, the point is how we understand it and how basically we are supporting on the level of understanding of this phenomena, the development of the ecosystems and the sectors. Because in every country, especially in Western Balkan countries, and a little bit more than on other countries in Europe, you have great social enterprises that are just driving through the walls with the heads in the ecosystem that is not really enabling for them, but that basically just says we can work in different environments and we can adapt. But of course, employed resources could be more effective in more enabling ecosystems. But that doesn't it's not the point. We need to stop until the policy framework is developed and enabling for the social entrepreneurship.
I do agree on Theo's point on indeed the legislation is not the solution of solving everything and to unleash the potential of a program because of an ecosystem, because they already found solution without it, because anyway the ecosystem and evolves around it always in different ways. And I've seen this in different countries, where I was also in Morocco, where indeed there was no recognition as well, but still we're going through wars, as Theo said, and we see it in the Western Balkans as well. But as we focused more on the topic as well today on the relation between the municipalities, public institutions, I think that's where the difference would be positive most positive for such enterprises that are actually finding different ways to grow. But if indeed, as we said, the collaboration between local authorities and governments and higher institutions is a key for developments, this not legal status or recognition or definition will be in favor of having more interactions in the next steps.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And I think as we get towards the end of the session, to round off, it would be nice like we go around to each of you. I have two questions for you. One, if there's one good practice you've seen happen in response to COVID to support the social economy, what has it been? And question two, what more would you like to have seen, or what would you like to see happen next? Maybe Alessandra, would you like to start?
One good practice in overcoming COVID-19.
Yeah.
Well, actually, for the moment, we are in the phase of mapping this kind of, also within other regional, other European projects. We are trying to map the good practices from social economy organization, because during the pandemic, we know that lots of activities stopped. So actually, it's something that is still ongoing for us. We don't know. And I think that at the moment, the good practice should come from the public level. I mean, from the regional government and from us, because the organizations, they try to keep their activity and their employment rate during the pandemic. And now we are in this phase of recovery. But I think that apart from the good practice that we shared within the Reset project, I think that we need some time just to see how they will react, and also which good practices will put in place by the public sector.
Thank you. Clémence?
Yes, I can share one good practice which I think is precisely linked to the subject of the mainstreaming of social economy at the region Occitanie scale, because we know at a global scale, but it's the same in the region Occitanie, that more and more people, especially young people, they want to create a social enterprise to meet the needs that were even more generated by the crisis. And so to answer to this demand and to give more support to the new project of social enterprises, the region of Occitanie during the crisis has created a specific program to raise awareness of social entrepreneurship among people working in, I would say, traditional economic incubators. We have a lot of economic incubators in the territory, and we also have specific social economy incubators, but the point was to work with the traditional ones, traditional incubators. And so the objective is that after the crisis, all social entrepreneurship projects can be detected and can benefit from adapted support. So we do a program called the Yes Pro, aimed at all the economic supporters in Occitanie, working in the economic incubators, traditional economic incubators. So this program was aimed at the people who accompany the creation or the development of traditional enterprises on a daily basis. So it was really concrete program. These people were coaches, and so we do a program with people specialized in social economy and in social innovation to introduce their work, their profession, and to guide the participants in understanding the needs and the specific needs and the specific challenges of supporting a social enterprise. So that was, I think, something that I would present like as a good practice. I think.
Yeah, no, that's really good example. Thank you. Adrian, quickly as well.
Yeah, I guess to maybe complete Clément's good practice in what we've seen mostly on the field in what we do in the Western Balkans, supporting young people in developing their ideas, is that the COVID allowed to rethink the way to support and to raise awareness or to support or to have an impact on people that want to make social enterprise. And one of them is the accessibility and the reach you can have by actually having digital or hybrid formats that allows to people in rural areas that usually don't get access to those programs or those ideas or those anything as such got to. And that's what we noticed very much in the first RISE journey we implemented, where the reach toward rural areas and people that don't have access and don't live in the capitals was very much bigger. And so and that's something that all incubators that have physical space and that you usually focus on an area around them as a reach because of difficulties to reach outside can rethink in order to have more impact on raising awareness on it and bringing more people toward the mindset of social enterprises through it, I would say.
Yeah, thank you. That's true. A huge advantage to digitalization of the events and things. And Theo, final word to you at this end of the.
Yeah, I will be quick because we need to finish in 2 minutes. I don't have, since we are talking from the positions of our countries, I don't have any experience to share. I didn't see any good practice from the local government to respond to COVID-19, especially to the social economy. But I would say we had a quite effective government response to the COVID, to the economy organizations, among which also social enterprises and social economy organizations are also impacted. So basically, we had quite good measures on securing the half of the salary, paying of the rent, which is basically accessible to all economic legal persons. But also we had some specific measures for work integration, social enterprises in general from some other state institutions in terms of preserving the jobs of integrated workers, etc., etc. So what action I would like to see, again, the holistic approach. It doesn't make sense to have specific measures that are just solving some specific problem from the position of city of Zagreb. As I said, they're quite developed in terms of supporting social economy more than some other cities. But again, it is just going from the Department of the Economy without the collaboration with other departments from the city of Zagreb, and without the further collaboration with all other stakeholders from the ecosystem in city of Zagreb. So yeah, the holistic approach, collaboration, and basically trying to answer from the position of all stakeholders to the situation, not just from one side, like from the local government.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, that's holistic approach. Good way to end. Good closing note for everyone to think about for the rest of the day and for the rest of the week. So thank you very much, everybody, to the panelists, of course, for being here, and also to everyone who's listening. I think I've learned a lot from this. I hope people have also found it interesting. And also thank you to GSEF and Benjamin for the organization and aspects and technical sides of everything. And I wish everybody a great rest of the day. And after this very interesting and thought-provoking start to the week.